Good afternoon, class. In the previous turn, we have completed the three indeterminate forms. Okay, so now there is this next result called sandwich theorem. Also known as squeeze play theorem. See what is this? If
Trying a new.
yes, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
So is this a new topic or a new chapter?
Not a new chapter, the same topic going on. Limits is going on. I told you this is also one of the methods.
Yes, sir.
So if f, g, h are three functions such that some inequality holds, okay, in these functions for all x in some interval containing the point x equal to c, containing the point x equal to c, and if limit x tends to c of gx is equal to limit x tends to c of hx equals L, then limit x tends to c fx equals L. See, let us try to understand this with the help of an example that will make it clear. Suppose we have this function fx is equal to 1 plus x square, okay. You know that it is parabola, so its shape will be something like this. Let me make it again, okay. We all know how to draw y is equal to x square. This is y is equal to 1 plus x square, something like this, okay. Parabola. Then let me draw another graph, this one. This is gx is equal to 1 minus x square, okay. This is also parabola. Coefficient of x square is negative, move downward, okay. And you can see both of them will be touching at this point 0, 1. At x equal to 0, y is 1 in both, right? Then let us say there is some other function whose graph is not known, okay. Sorry, graph is known, but we don't know what is the expression, okay. Only the graph is given like this. So what do you observe? How this inequality satisfies here? You see that gx, the red one, it is always below lowest one, okay. Then fx is coming in middle. I am talking height wise, and hx is always above. So we can say that gx is less than fx less than hx, and at some points they may be equal to also. Where they will be equal to, where they will be meeting each other, there they will be equal to. So we can say that in this case that point is 0, okay. In that case that point is 0, okay. So This condition is satisfied. Now, what about limit x tends to 0 of hx? That means limit x tends to 0 of 1 plus x square. This will be 1. It is value putting kind of situation. Similarly, limit of gx. Okay. First of all, I have calculated limit of the interval hx, which is always above. Then I am calculating the limit of gx, which is always below. This also comes out to be 1. Okay. Then by this result, though I don't know what is this expression fx, but I can say that the limit of this also will be 1. This is the result of sandwich theorem. So first of all, we need to establish an inequality in gx, fx and hx in the question. Okay, we'll see through questions how we establish this inequality, and then we will find the limit of the lowest and highest function at a given value of x, that is tends to c. If both of them come out to be same, okay, then that will be the limit of fx as well. Okay, so here we can say that fx is sandwiched between hx and gx. Okay, it's like that. That is the situation. Okay, so maintain getting an inequality and then finding limit of first and last, that means gx and hx. If both of them come out to be same, then that will be the limit of the middle function as well. That is the statement. Okay, but obviously this type of question won't come, that is very simple. Okay, however, it can be taken as class example. It can be taken as the example of this theorem. Okay, but now let us use this to solve some questions. So first question is also simple because here already given the relation. They have already given that fx lies between these two. So direct question. Then we have to find limit of fx when x tends to 4. Okay. So in this case, they have already given the inequality. You are not supposed to do anything. Okay. Mainly this is the step where you will have to work. But now if the inequality is given, then what you will do? You will find limit of 4x minus 9 at x tends to 4. This is comparatively easy question, value putting. Directly put 4, you will get 7. 16 minus 9. And you put the limit on the extreme right function as well. And you put 4 here again, you will get 7.
The screen
16
is
minus
frozen.
16 plus 7. Okay. It's frozen or is it lagging?
It's frozen, sir.
Wait. Is it visible now?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so the first question, we have to find the limit of fx at x tends to 4 and function fx is not given. Inequality is given, right? Comparable to this thing. So what we do in such cases, we apply sandwich theorem and we find the limit of extreme left and extreme right function. Okay, that means the leftmost and rightmost function at that x. If both of them come out to be same, then by sandwich theorem the limit of the middle function will also be that only. Okay. So I calculated limit of 4x minus 9 at x tends to 4, 7 is coming. I calculated limit of x square minus 4x plus 7, that also is 7. Therefore, limit of fx at x tends to 4, this will be 7 by sandwich theorem. Okay. This is the simple result, simple question based on this. Okay, let me take the next question here. Suppose this is the question, limit x tends to minus infinity 5x square minus sine 3x upon x square plus 10. Suppose this is the question. Okay. Now let me tell you how to solve this using sandwich theorem. Okay. We need to create the inequality, right? So we will start from this. See, sine 3x is from minus. We already know that sine of the angle is from minus 1 to 1, correct? And they are saying that x is tending to minus infinity. So whatever that angle is, I don't know what will be the value of sine of that angle, right? X is tending to minus infinity. Sine of 3 into minus infinity. I don't know what will be the exact value, but it will be between minus 1 to 1. Okay. Then we multiply the inequality by minus 1. Sign will change. Then we add 5x square. We add 5x square to all the terms. Sorry, left hand side will be 5x square plus 1. What I am trying to do, I am trying to create this function fx. So this is 5x square plus 1, adding 5x square. I have already created numerator. Okay. Now in the last step, I told you will have to create an inequality. In the last step, you will have to divide by x square plus 10. We divide by x square plus 10. And this is what we get, right? So this is the inequality. Now you can compare it with the result of sandwich theorem. What you will do? You will find the limit of left and right function. At which point, which is given in the question, if both of them come out to be same, that will be the answer of the limit of the middle function. Okay. So now when you change this question in this form, it becomes infinity upon infinity type algebraic. This we have already solved. You divide by the term having highest power, so we divide by x square. So the first limit is 5 because 1 upon x square and 10 by x square will be 0. Okay. Then we find the next limit. X tends to minus infinity. 5x square minus 1 upon x square plus 10. This is also same. Divide by x square. Okay. 5 minus 1 by x square upon 1 plus 10 by x square. This is also 5. So what do you observe? Both the limits are coming same, right? Therefore, the limit of the middle function at this x will also be equal to this value. This is the way to use sandwich theorem. You will have to create inequalities. Okay, that is important. Now see, since I am teaching you sandwich theorem, so I solved this question by sandwich theorem, right? But it can be solved by other method also, which is also very simple. It will be solved in one line only. But I was trying to explain you the application of sandwich theorem, and there are some questions where you can only use sandwich theorem. That is why. Okay. See, method 2 becomes very simple. Take the question and there only you divide by x square. That means whatever question is there, okay, this is the question, you divide it by x square in numerator and denominator like this, and you will straight away get the answer 5. You know why? Because the second part of the numerator and denominator are 0. See, 10 by x square will be 0, right? 10 by infinity. What about the numerator? In the numerator we just discussed that whatever be the angle, the value of sine will be minus 1 to 1. Okay, we can't tell what is the exact value, but it will be minus 1 to 1. But in denominator we have a infinite value, right? So though there is any finite number in numerator, minus 1 to 1 any number, but denominator is infinite, so overall value will be 0. Okay, so by that way also you can do. See, mainly this is used for such type of question. They are important where you will find so many greatest integers and limit will be tending to infinity. So just remember this, okay? If there are so many greatest integers and limit is also tending to infinity, okay, then this question will be solved using sandwich theorem only. This is the question. And what is this? This denotes greatest integer function. Try this question just. See, in this question, first of all, you need to create inequality, okay? Direct value putting is of no use, okay? What result we are talking about? The one that we studied in functions, okay? And that is this result. This we have already discussed. For any real number x, okay, greatest integer comes in between, then the leftmost term is x minus 1, rightmost is x. For example, let us say x is 5.2. Then x minus 1 means 4.2. Greatest integer x means 5. And x is 5.2, right? So you see the order? This is always true. However, if I take x as integer, let's say 6 or 5 only, in that case equality will hold here. Now actually equality is not important. Here inequality is important. The whole question depends on inequality. Now the question is how to use it further. Using this, now you can generalize this and write the value of greatest integer of 2x. Similarly, write the value of greatest integer of 3x. And like that, you go on adding all the results and write the greatest integer of nx. Sorry, it will be 3x here, not nx. Nx is at the last. So you get these inequalities and you can see there are same signs. Okay, you add them. When you will add, in the right hand side you will get x plus 2x up to nx. In the middle you will get the numerator of the question. And in the leftmost side you will get x plus 2x plus 3x up to nx. Apart from that you will also get minus n. Why? Because there is constantly minus 1. So minus 1 minus 1 minus 1, this goes on up to how many times? N times, because n inequalities are there. Now you can add this. In the left hand side when you take x common, it will be 1 plus 2 plus 3 up to n. Okay, 1 plus 2 plus 3 up to n, you know that it is n plus 1 by 2. You can calculate that by AP also. So same thing will be in the left hand side after you take x common. So 1 plus 2 plus 3 up to n plus 1 by 2x minus n. Okay. Now numerator is created. What is the next step? Divide everything by n square. And since n square is a positive number, it is tending to infinity and it is positive, so sign won't change. So we divide both sides by all the sides by n square. So that is how you get the question. Okay, inequality is there, right? You have created fx in between, and when you divide n square, this term also by n square, it will be x into n plus 1 upon 2n. I am dividing by n square, 1 n will get cancelled. Okay, now what we will do, we will find the limit of left and rightmost term. If they come out to be same, that will be the answer of this limit. Okay. So n is tending to infinity, not x. So if the limit is on n, what about x? If the limit is on n, what about x? X is constant. Okay, so you take it outside. Okay, divide numerator and denominator by n. 1 plus 1 by n upon 2. So what is the value? X by 2. Why you divide both numerator and denominator by n? Because we divide numerator and denominator by the term having highest power. Okay, so divide by n, and 1 by 2 will come from limit and multiplied by x, so x by 2 is the answer. Now we will find the limit of the left. Okay, so first of all we will cancel one n from numerator and denominator. It will be n plus 1 upon 2 x minus 1 upon n. Then you can split it in two parts, and it will also come out to be x by 2 only. See, n plus 1 upon 2n x minus 1 by n. If you see, then this is the same question here, this part, So this answer will be x by 2. And what about the next one? 1 by n. 1 upon infinity will be 0. X by 2 1. Okay. So left and right both are getting the same value. That is why what is the answer of the question? Because of that you can see rightmost is getting x by 2, leftmost limit is x by 2, and we have established this inequality here. As a result, the limit of this middle term will also be x by 2. Okay, greatest integer x plus 2x up to nx upon n square. This is also x by 2. That is the way to solve it. So this question is important, and you can find similar questions where you have so many greatest integer brackets. Okay, and the question has limit tending to infinity. Okay, so there is this hint for you that it will be solved by sandwich theorem, and for that this inequality will be used, that is x minus 1 is less than greatest integer x, which is less than equal to x. Okay, and what you do, how you use it again and again, in place of x you keep on putting 2x 3x and up to nx, and then you add all the inequalities. Okay, after that we observe denominator, so we divide everything by n square. That is how we make the inequality which is written in the box. Then we find the limit of first and last function at the given value of n. Both of them come out to be same. That will be the answer of the limit of the middle function. Okay. Let us solve one more question here. This question also will do. This is also based on sandwich theorem. Okay. Try to create inequality, and I am giving you the hint that since the denominators are different, okay, all the denominators are different, you won't be able to take the LCM. Okay, that will become very complicated. And remember one thing I told you, do not split the limit in all the terms. Why? Because if you will split this limit on all the terms, from each term you will get 0, and 0 when added to itself so many times still it will be 0. But that is wrong answer, because I told you that small components can be added to give some significant quantity. So we are not supposed to split it, neither we can take the LCM, because that is possible to take the LCM of this kind of term. So only one possibility remains, that is sandwich theorem. But how to use it, just think for a moment. Use sandwich theorem, think about it once. You are supposed to create the inequality. Okay, Anyone? Equality is to be created, and this can be done. See, we fix one denominator at a time. We have to create this inequality less than greater than. Okay, so this is less than this term. And this is greater than this term. I will tell you what I am doing. Okay. Now what is this? What I have written? In the middle we have the question only, and in the right hand side I am writing each denominator equal to n square plus 1. Okay, that means I am taking the first denominator and keeping it same. So why this term will be less than the term on the right hand side? Because see, numerators are same. Okay, numerator are same, so the ones which will have smaller denominator will be bigger in value. What I am trying to say, if you compare these two, this is n upon n square plus 2 and that one is n upon n square plus 1. So numerator are same, but n square plus 1 is smaller than n square plus 2. Okay, so whose division will be bigger? Obviously n upon n square plus 1. Similarly, n upon n square plus 3 and n upon n square plus 1. Once again, n square plus 3 is more. Since n square plus 3 is more, therefore its division will be less than n upon n square plus 1. Okay, and we keep on doing that till the last term. Okay, we keep on doing that till the last term. This also, because n square plus 1 is the least denominator. Okay, so obviously the sum of these numbers will be the sum of the numbers on the right hand side. Okay, now on the left hand side, we fix the denominator n square plus n. Okay, see, if you observe these two, again numerator is same, but this time denominator of n square plus n is greater. Okay, since the denominator n square plus n is greater, therefore which value will be more? Obviously n upon n square plus 1 will be more. Similarly, this value will be less than n upon n square plus 2, and the next value, this value will be less than n upon n square plus 3, because every time I have written n upon n square plus 1. So it is very easy to understand that once I am fixing the smallest denominator and once I am fixing the greatest denominator, as a result I will be able to create this inequality. Now what will happen? What you get on this side, this is addition, because denominator is same. So what will be the LCM? LCM will be n square plus n. So you add all the numerators, n plus n plus n and so on. N added to itself will be n square. Here we have this term. And on the right hand side, we keep the denominator n square plus 1, and here also we add, we get n square, right? So this is how we get the inequality. Now we will find the limit of left and rightmost. We find this limit. This will come out to be 1 only. Why? Divided by the term having highest power. 1 will be the answer. Similarly, you divide that term. This will also be, which one? Right side, rightmost side. Find the limit at this point. Again, this will be 1 divided by n square. So both the limits are same. Therefore, the answer of this will be 1. Why? Because it is the middle function. Since the left and right are having same limit at n tending to infinity, therefore limit of the question will also be 1. Okay. This is the process by which we apply sandwich theorem. So I have given you 4 type of questions. Okay. Generally these type of questions are only asked. Okay. And ultimately it depends on the practice, how you observe things. But last 2 questions are important. Okay. If you see a series where denominators are different, term is tending to infinity, then you can apply sandwich theorem. And in the question where there are so many greatest integers and limit is tending to infinity, then also greatest integer. So these 2 questions are very common. So remember these. Okay. Rest everything depends on the practice, if you are able to recognize whether to use sandwich theorem or any other formula or result.
So could you please repeat how you were the inequality?
Sorry,
So how you got the inequality? Could you please repeat that?
the voice is not clear. Davis, is that you? And what is your doubt?
So could you repeat the first step where you got the inequality?
I told you, no. Either you have to fix 2 denominators. On one side you will fix n square plus 1. On the other side you will fix n square plus n. Fix means every denominator will be n square plus 1. Every denominator will be n square plus n. Now which side you will take n square plus 1? On the right hand side. Why? Because it is the smallest denominator. Smallest denominator of all the denominators. So when you will divide it, when n will be divided by this, it will give you the highest value. So the sum of the terms on the left hand side will be greatest. And on the left hand side, I have fixed the highest denominator, n square plus n. So the values of the terms with n square plus n as denominator will be least. So the sum of these terms will be least. Okay. Like this you create inequality. Rest there is addition. Now both sides denominators are same, n square plus n, so LCM will be n square plus n. How you add numerator? N plus n up to n added to itself n times, that will be n square. Same in the right hand side. Then you find the limits. Infinity by infinity algebraic type. You have to fix first and first denominator. That is what you have to do. Then there is this one article, finding unknowns when limit is given. See what type of questions they ask. Let me tell you, and how you will solve this. We start with a simple question. If limit x tends to 0, a minus cos x upon x square is finite, or I should write is finite, then find value of a and the limit. So what is the heading? Finding unknowns when limit is given. So in this question, the unknown is a, and limit is given indirectly because they are saying that limit is finite. If limit is finite, that means it exists. Okay. So based on this, they have given you the task of finding the values of a and the limit. So try to understand how we tackle these questions. See, when x tends to 0, denominator is 0, right? Denominator is 0. 0 means tending 0. Okay. So therefore, numerator must also be 0. Numerator must also be 0. Why it is so? Because what type of questions we solve? What type of questions we solve? These type of questions. Okay. Questions which are approaching these forms. Questions which are approaching these forms. You do not solve 2 upon 0 because you cannot solve 2 upon 0 will be infinity. Okay. So tell me, if at x equal to 0, the denominator is going towards 0, so naturally numerator should be going towards 0. If you will take any other term except 0, let's say you take 2, 3, 4 or any other non-zero number, you know what will happen? The limit will be infinite. 2 upon 0 is infinite, right? But limit is given finite. So only this is the possibility. Therefore, a minus cos 0 is equal to 0. Because what is the tending value of x? Tending value of x is 0. So you put 0 in place of x. And why the whole numerator will be 0? That is what I am telling you. See this first part. In how many indeterminate forms you see 0 in denominator? Only in one, which is 0 by 0. That is what I am saying. So because of that, you get a as 1. Okay. You get a as 1, correct? Now, once you get the value of a, what is the question now? Limit x tends to 0, 1 minus cos x upon x square. And this is the standard result. What is the answer? 1 by 2. So two questions you have solved here, two parts, the value of a and the limit. So I am saying again and again, whenever you see denominator, you have to observe that is it approaching, is 0 is there in the denominator or infinity is there in the denominator. Okay. And like that you have to proceed, because these are the 7 indeterminate forms in mathematics, and we solve the questions which are approaching these forms in limits, right? That is how we solve. Once you get the value of unknown, put those values in the unknown, and then you can find the question of limit as we usually do. Any doubt in this? Any doubt in this question? Let me take another example. If limit x tends to minus 1 is finite non-zero number, is finite and also non-zero number, okay, then find ABC. This is the question. Now let us see how we'll solve this. See, first of all, at x tends to minus 1, denominator is 0. So it must be of the form 0 by 0. Therefore, numerator must be 0 at minus 1. So this implies minus 1 cube plus a into minus 1 square plus b into minus 1 plus c equals 0. So this is a minus b plus c equals 1. One result, okay? But this is just one equation and we have to find ABC. We need two more equations. So now what we will do? We will differentiate it. 3x square plus 2ax plus b upon 3 into x plus 1 whole square. Why? Because whenever the questions are of 0 by 0 form, we differentiate. Now what is happening? Again at minus 1, denominator is 0, so numerator must be 0. Okay. Now someone can say 0 will take 1. But take 1 in the numerator and denominator is 0, 1 by 0 means infinity. And it is given that limit is finite non-zero number. That is why. So numerator must be 0. And why we are doing this? Because the question is of the form 0 by 0, or it must be of the form 0 by 0. So numerator must be 0. That means 3 into minus 1 square plus 2 into minus 1 plus b equal to 0. That means this is b minus 2a is equal to minus 3. Second equation. Still one more equation is required. So you do this process again. What? L'Hospital, because it is still 0 by 0. So when you use L'Hospital again, this becomes, in the numerator differentiation will be this, and here differentiation will be this. Now you will get the answer. Why? At minus 1, denominator is 0. So numerator must be 0. Therefore, numerator be 0. Now 0 at what? At x equal to minus 1. So now you start getting the values. What about a first? A will be 3. Okay. Put this value of a here. You get b as 3. And you put both these values here, you will get c as 1. Because a3, b3. Yes. Okay. That is how you get the value of ABC. Now if they ask you to find the limit also, okay, if they ask you to find the limit, you can do that also. See, let me put the values. This will be extra question. If they want you to find the limit, you put the values of ABC, so it will be x cube, a is 3, 3x square, b is 3, 3x square, and c is 1. Okay. So now this is the question, and you will see that it will come in the single step, because in the numerator also it is x plus 1 cube, denominator also it is x plus 1 cube, and so the answer is 1. What type of limit is this? The limit is finite and non-zero. This is the way to solve this question. That means whenever unknowns are included, okay, first of all you have to think about the form, the 7 forms, and based on that you will do the working. If you see denominator is 0, then you go on doing numerator as 0. If you have more than one unknown and 0 by 0 form is there, then you will have to use L'Hospital rule, and at every step you will have to use the fact that denominator is 0, so numerator must be 0. So like that you will get the equations in the unknowns, you can solve them. You can find them using the solution of the system of equation. Okay, these are simple equations, you can solve them directly. And if they want you to find the limit also, you can put the values of these alphabets in the question, and by that you can solve the limit as usual. Okay. So I am giving one question. Try this, let me see you can give the answer. If limit x tends to infinity, 1 plus a by x plus b by x square to the power 2x is e square. Then find a and b. And so what do you observe? The question is of the form 1 to the power infinity, remember? Because when x tends to infinity, these two terms reduce to 0, a upon infinity, b upon infinity, and 2x means 2 into infinity. How you solve this question? You take this on the power of e, correct? Take this on the power of e, 2x come in front, and you subtract 1 from the bracket, right? That is what I told you. And the answer is already given. Because what is the heading? Finding unknowns when the limit is given. So here they have actually given the value of limit also, that is e square. Now 1 and minus 1 will get cancelled and it will be this. In the next step, you multiply this 2x with both the terms. So this is how much? 2a plus 2b by x. Okay. And this is e square. Now since x is tending to infinity, okay, so second part will become 0, it is e to the power 2a, correct? So 2a equals to a is 1. I hope this is clear. X means 2b upon infinity, that will go to 0, reduce to 0, okay? So 2a will remain and then you compare both the sides, you get the value of a. So in this we have used the type 1 to the power infinity, okay? So 0 by 0, question we solved on 0 by 0, we solved question on 1 to the power infinity. So like that you have to identify the indeterminate forms and work accordingly. Now suppose this is the question. If limit x tends to infinity, x square plus 1 upon x plus 1 minus ax minus b is equal to 0, then find a and b. So once again limit is given. and some function is given with unknown same. Try this. This is a single term, right? See, in this question, first of all, we'll take the LCM. Take the LCM, it is x square plus 1 minus ax minus b minus of ax plus b into x plus 1 upon x plus 1 is equal to 0. Okay. Then you multiply last two terms. What you will get, ax square plus ax plus bx plus b upon x plus 1. Correct? Then you write similar terms together. You write it x square plus 1 minus ax square minus ax minus bx minus b upon x plus 1 is equal to 0. Okay, taking LCM. Then next step, take x square common, write 1 minus a. Then the next two terms you take minus x common, a plus b. Then 1 minus b upon x plus 1 is equal to 0. Okay. Now see from here, what you do in these type of questions, they are infinity upon infinity, you divide by the highest power. Let us divide. So it will be 1 minus a, then minus of a plus b upon x, 1 minus b by x square, and this will be 1 upon x plus 1 by x square. Okay, you divide by the term having highest power, right? So you divide by x square. Now you know what will happen. This answer will never come 0. Why? Why this answer will never come 0? Because you have 0 in the denominator. 1 upon infinity means 0. 1 upon infinity square 0. So whatever is there, forget about numerator, what is present in the numerator. But tell me one thing. If anything is there in the numerator but denominator there is 0, can you get 0? No. You cannot go 0. Cannot get 0, right? So first thing that I'm trying to explain is, okay, because of all this thing, if you keep everything same and you go by the normal logic that we divide by numerator having highest numerator and denominator by the term having highest power, so this will be the situation and you will never get 0. So that means the highest term should not be of x square. Highest term should not be of x square. So the first thing that we need to do, since because you will not get 0 here, what you will get? You will get actually infinity, 0 upon question mark upon 0. You will get infinity, right? And they want you to get 0. So what is the first thing? Since limit is finite, therefore coefficient of x square must be 0. Coefficient of x square must be 0. So that means 1 minus a is 0 or a equals 1. Okay. Now what will happen when you will do these changes here? You get a as 1, right? Put a as 1. So this term won't be there. You put as a as 1 here, minus x upon 1 plus b plus 1 minus b upon x plus 1. Correct? And now you divide numerator and denominator by x. Divide numerator and denominator by x. Okay. So it will be minus of 1 plus b plus 1 minus b upon x. Okay. We are dividing numerator and denominator by x. Correct? This will be 1 and this will be 1 by x is equal to 0, which is given. When you put x as infinity, okay, when you put x as infinity, now what is remaining? This part will go minus 1 plus b upon 1. This will remain, and as a result b will come out to be minus 1. See, what is the meaning of whole question? If the question is of infinity by infinity, right, and you are getting some finite answer, then obviously power of numerator cannot be more. Because think yourself, if power of numerator is more, if it is x square like in this case, then you will be bound to divide numerator and denominator by x square. In that case, when you solve it, finally you are getting answer as infinity, not 0, right? So what will be the first thing? In such a case, coefficient of x square must be 0. That means 1 minus a. Coefficient of x square must be 0 means it should not be there. So for that a should be equal to 1. When you put a is equal to 1, question reduces to this form. Now it is infinity upon infinity type. In the numerator and denominator we have infinity, right? And how we solve this question? By dividing numerator and denominator by the term having highest power, which is x here. Okay. When you divide, what you get on the left hand side? Minus 1 plus b upon 1. And the right hand side you get 0. Okay. So from here b is minus 1. This is the question. I hope this is clear. So now when you will solve, see, now when you will solve the questions, no, today we have completed Sandwich theorem and this finding unknowns when limit is given. In fact, chapter is over. What you do, you revise all the points of limits now. We have studied it in quite a long time. Okay, go through from the first class and revise all the lectures that I have taken. Okay, First you collect the information. What are the type of indeterminate forms? Okay, what are the various methods? Fine. What is sandwich theorem? What are the series expansions? Go through the examples, and then if it is possible, you repeat the questions of limits. Whatever we have discussed in the class, repeat them. In fact, examples also you repeat. When you will go through the process for one more time, okay, you will learn a lot. In first time, whenever the topics are going on, okay, it is not that easy to remember everything. But once the chapter is over, you go through the examples once again, try to solve the DPPs once again, and then you will see a lot of difference from the first time. Okay, chapter is over in all the senses. Just let me know you got the DPP yesterday or not. Just tell me. Yesterday DPP was given.
No, sir.
Okay, all right, that is what I thought. So because ma'am has not sent me the copy of the DPP, so I will ask ma'am to upload DPP in some time. Okay, do that. We will discuss it tomorrow, and we will see some more questions tomorrow as well, just for the sake of practice, and we will discuss the DPP that will be given to you. Otherwise the chapter is over, so now you can start revising it. Fine. And yeah, one more thing, this time also in test it will be ITF only. Okay, limits won't be coming this Sunday as well. It will come in the next test in the form of objective, and in that paper you can even see continuity, differentiability, the upcoming topics, okay, which will be covering. But this Sunday it will be ITF once again. Okay, so now we'll meet tomorrow and we'll see the discussion of the doubts and some practice on this chapter, and then from next to next turn we will start with continuity. Fine. So that's it for today. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.